Algebra 2, set 96, practice. Okay, solve the system of equations. First, we're going to solve for x. We have x is equal to 3 over y. Plug that into the first equation. 3 over y minus 3y equals 5. Multiply everything by y. We get 3 minus 3y squared is equal to 5y. Now we'll just rearrange it so that all of the terms are on one side. So we get 3y squared plus 5y minus 3 is equal to 0. We can't factor this, so we'll use the quadratic formula. So a is equal to 3, b is equal to 5, c is equal to negative 3. So opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. So when we work this out, we get negative 5 plus or minus 20, the square root of 25. 4 times 3 times 3 is going to be 36, and we have a negative times a negative, so it's positive all over 6. This becomes negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 61 over 6, and that is equal to y. So we take that and we plug it back in for the original equation. So we get x minus 3 times negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 61 over 6, and that's equal to 5. When we multiply negative 3 times negative 5 6, we get positive 5 halves. Negative 3 times positive square root of 61 over 6, we get square root of 61 over 2, and it's negative, and that's equal to 5. 5 minus 5 halves is going to give us 5 halves, and then plus square root of 61 over 2. So we get x is equal to 5 halves plus square root of 61 over 2. Now you probably have noticed that when we take the negative and plug it back in, that it only changes the sign of the second part. So we'll just do that. You notice I've changed it in red, so change it to a negative square root of 61 over 6, and then so when I multiply that by negative 3, it becomes positive square root of 61 over 2, and then in the end when I subtract that, I get minus square root of 61 over 2. So that's the only difference in the second answer. So our first solution is for x, 5 halves plus square root of 61 over 2, and that goes with negative 5 plus square root of 61 over 6. Second solution is 5 halves minus square root of 61 over 2, and that goes with negative 5 minus square root of 61 over 6. Let's do another example. This one with variation. The number of elk varied inversely as the number of deer and directly as the number of antelope. When there were 75 elk, there were 85 deer and 15 antelope. How many deer were there when there were 20 elk and 30 antelope? Work once using the variation form and again using the equal ratio form. So we'll start with the variation form. We know elk varied inversely as deer, so D goes on the bottom, and directly as antelope, so A goes on top. And now we can take that equation and plug in 75 elk. Let me change the color of my pen here. So 75 elk, 85 deer, and 15 antelope. So 75 is equal to 85 deer, 15 antelope times k. And then we just work that out. Now it looked a little bit odd. I double checked it a few times, and this really is the way that you do it. It's just a really large k that we get. So we can cancel out, multiply by the reciprocal of 15 over 85. So multiply by 85 over 15 by both sides. 15 and 75 we can divide 5 into, or divide 15 into. 15 goes into 75 5 times, goes into itself once. So we end up with k, and then again these all cancel out. So k is equal to 5 times 85, which is 425. So we know E is equal to 425A all over D, and then we can take our new information, 20 elk, 30 antelope, and we want to know what D is. So 20 equals 425 times 30 all over D. multiply both sides times d, and we get 20d equals 425 times 30. Divide both sides by 20, and we end up with 1,275 divided by 2, which gives us 637 and a half. We can't really have a half deer, so we're going to round down to 637 deer. Now we're going to do it the other way using the equal ratio and make sure that we get the same solution. So, equal ratio, we have, again, elk varies inversely as deer and directly as antelope. So we're going to start out and we're going to write E1 over E2, and then inversely as deer, so D2 goes on top over D1, and then directly as antelope, so A1 goes on top, A2 on bottom. Okay, now we plug in. These are all the ones, 75 elk, 85 deer, 15 antelope. So we'll plug those in for the ones. So 75 elk, 85 deer, 15 antelope, and then elk, 20 elk and 30 antelope. Those are our number twos. So E sub 2 is 20, A sub 2 is 30, and then D sub 2 is unknown. And then we just solve from here. We can cancel. 15 goes into 30 twice. 5 goes into 20 4 times and goes into 75 15 times. So that gives us 15 over 4 equals D sub 2 over 170. We can cross multiply. 170 times 15 is equal to 4D2. So D2 is equal to 2,550 over 4, which is equal to 637 and a half deer, or 637 deer.